There's a fly in here. Can you see me? You can see me, right?
Yeah, you can see both of us.
You're in charge of the camera.
Oh, really?
I'm in charge of audio. You're in charge of the camera because you can see the screen.
Yeah.
Great news. The Drop with Frank and Brian is officially brought to you by Switch Suspension. Switch Suspension specializes in all vehicle chassis components. Lift kits, lowering kits, air ride suspension, wheels, tires, steering, and brake upgrades. They use all the best products from the best brands. And these guys are truck guys. You roll into their parking lot at the shop and they all drive custom vehicles. So they use their products that they sell on their own vehicles. So if you guys are looking for anything for your vehicles, whether you're just starting out or you just need some replacement parts or whatever, give them a call or visit their website, switchsuspension.com.
Hey guys, quick reminder that our Acura E-Level Plus giveaway is almost over. On February 28th, we'll be going on Instagram Live and drawing a winner.
Wait, Frank, no. You have until midnight, February 28th, Pacific Standard Time to get entered. We'll go live on March 1st at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
But don't worry, it's not too late. You can still either go to livelifecustom.com and grinder-tv.com, and when you guys purchase stuff on either one of those sites, you'll be entered to win. Listening to this after February 28th? Again, don't worry, we're always giving great stuff away, so go to those websites and see what's going on. So we're sitting here at your house on Tuesday, getting ready to head to LST.
It is. What time is it?
9 o'clock at night. We had to bust a little mission as soon as I got here to go get a cabinet.
Oh my God. Whose bright idea was it?
Yours.
For me to be on Facebook Marketplace today. You know, ever since this Nissan, I never really did Marketplace before this, but ever since this Nissan, Marketplace is almost open on my computer all the time.
Really?
Yeah. And it is so smart because once you start looking for something, it will show you what you're.
Oh.
So I started looking for garage cabinets because I want a kitchen cabinets. Like you can buy used kitchen cabinets for cheap and throw them in the garage. But I needed a certain depth, so I wasn't finding anything. So this one popped up today, the perfect depth that I needed. It was like perfect height and everything, and I was like, I'm gonna go get it. And everything's far from my house.
Everything is far.
I
was like low key looking at the clock. I wonder how long this is gonna take. It took exactly an hour and a half round trip. But lucky we got the trailer loaded first.
Yes, that was good because it would have sucked to do that right now.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah.
And you know, it's funny because like Angie was asking me leading up to today, like when actually it wasn't just Angie. A lot of people were in my immediate circle were asking me like, when are you leaving? I was like, I'm leaving as early as I can on Tuesday. And they're like, why? Like, because we're planning on leaving tomorrow. Yeah. Like the trip starts tomorrow. And I've done this trip so many times that I realize that any wasted time just puts me here later and later. One year, like it was like kind of a slow progression because it was like one year I was like, okay, well, the day of I'll wash the truck and get the oil changed. That ate up half a day. Yeah. And then I didn't get here until, like 1 o'clock in the morning your time. Cause also there's an hour difference. Yep. And that screws with me every single time. So like I would get here at 1 o'clock and then we would load the trailer and then because we still have to sit down and talk for like an hour.
And that's what I realized with this cabinet. I was like, if we can get in my truck and just talk in my truck, do the initial like, hey, how's it going? Yeah, exactly. And like whatever, like we could just do it in the truck while we're driving because in reality, if we would have not gone and got that cabinet, we would have only started this like maybe 45 minutes ago, an hour ago.
Yeah, because we'd be BSing the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is what we're doing right now. We're just BSing.
And things like that you were talking about, like eating up time. People don't realize how long things take. I do it all the time. I'm like, oh, it's only 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's 45 minutes once you get in the truck driving to get to that point. But the point, whatever you do before it, whatever you do after it, it adds up. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's changing the oil and stuff. Yeah, that's.
I know it was. I don't know why I thought I could do that. So
when
now,
did you get your tires? Did you get those yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday.
Am I still in the frame?
Yes, barely. No, you're there. No, yeah, you're there. Might be a little cut off.
I like this though.
It's fine. You're in. It's good. But I got my tires yesterday. Yeah, that was the conversation we were having last week. Yeah. Was the tire thing. So I finally bucked up and just got them. And so we did that yesterday. Yeah, and then like I now that we've done this so many times, I've made sure that like come Tuesday morning, it's like there's nothing to do. Yeah. It's just go. Like I had to do one thing. I mean, obviously I had to take my kids to school, so I had to drop them off at the bus stop and stuff. Then I had to go pick up my mom from the mechanic, and that was it. and it was like wheels up, I'm gone. Just because I've learned like anything.
But even
anything
getting
stands
to
in the way.
Brandon's.
Oh yeah, that's right. I had to go to Brandon.
Yeah,
Well,
so that-
actually, I had made 2 stops. I made one at Doug.
Yeah.
Which hold on, before we begin.
All right.
I come bearing gifts. Well, I'm come bearing gifts because one, I'm drinking Chelsea's drinks that she so kindly leaves me in the fridge, which is just a little treasure trove of different drinks. So I come with gifts. Number 1 is we got more drop stickers.
Oh, yes.
Got more drop stickers. Thanks to Doug at Creative House.
Yep.
We got those. Wait. Uh-oh. This is the problem with me drinking like beer.
Yeah.
I'm going to be burping a lot. And then I have come with an entire wardrobe for you.
Oh.
We got drop shirts.
Oh.
We got custom life shirts. I actually made this one for you a long time ago.
Wait,
And
are these 3 or 4Xs?
They're 4Xs.
I'm going to have to wear them soon. I'm almost into a 3X.
Yeah, I know. I noticed. Yeah, I know. But I figured that I had these anyway, so I'm going to make them. So I actually made that one a long time ago. And then our new designs.
Oh, nice. I really like this.
Yeah, this one turned out cool. I like this one.
Wait, why am I not showing my new design?
Look at that. Yeah, this one's really cool. So this one I showed the dually one off a couple episodes ago, but this one is another new one, and this is it's custom life for our audio listeners because they can't see anything. So it says custom life, and behind that in I wanted like a graffiti type font. So here's the thing. Let me tell you the evolution of this shirt. Okay. So I've said before that like my ideas I have these like really rudimentary ideas, and then Angie takes them and she polishes them.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have a little transparency right now. And I'm not going to put Angie on blast, but I'm going to have a little transparency. Is sometimes we don't see eye to eye on stuff. So like I'll come up with an idea, and then I'll show her the design, and she'll take it and she'll polish it and turn it into something awesome. But this one we kind of butted heads a little bit on it.
On this one.
Because like my original idea is actually the compromise that we came to is pretty close to.
These are OG All Styles.
Yeah, I had those laying around.
Yeah.
So this is pretty close to the original idea that I had, because the only thing that really kind of changed was the first font that I picked out for the words behind it was like really illegible. Like it was this type of font that's like very skinny and you really can't tell what it says. And that was like kind of the point that I wanted to do.
Because you wanted it to be hidden. Like you didn't want it to be in the forefront.
Right.
You wanted it to be kind of hidden.
Yeah. I wanted it to be almost like a texture behind it.
Yeah.
So like you didn't like, it was interesting how the conversation developed too, because I guess on my side, I wasn't really explaining what I wanted, and I was just showing Angie this image, and I was like, we'll make this, but so I wasn't trying to make it illegible for the sake of just being different. This may be like complete like BS that I'm talking here, but it made sense at the time. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that.
D.
The big D. The joke is there, but I'm trying so hard not to like make it a thing.
A thing?
Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I didn't like, I don't know. That's a whole nother thing.
Okay.
But we're talking about the I call it the script shirt.
Okay.
Anyway, so my idea was I wanted the person wearing it to like, I wanted that person to feel like they were in on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I wanted that person wearing it to feel like I'm all. So let me explain firstly this. So the words behind it are a bunch of words that like we use often in our scene. It's like cut, weld, cruise, bagged, bodied, like all of these like we talked about
terms.
before, like terms, buzzwords and stuff like that. So I wanted the wearer to feel like they were like in on something. Because if someone who doesn't know anything about our scene were to look at it and even if they were to read the words, they still really wouldn't know what it is. They'd just be like, what are all of these words? Like what's an airbag? What's a body drop?
Yeah.
Like what are all these things?
Those are special to us.
Exactly. And I wanted the wearer to feel like this is my thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that was the idea behind it. And like I said, we butted heads a little bit over it, but we ended up with that. So I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty happy with the end result.
Cool. It's always interesting to see like your perspective on things, and then to see how the customer,
right,
if it's going to translate to because there's been so many. I mean, how many times have you made a T-shirt and you're just like, this is so cool, it's going to do so good, and then it bombs.
I have one shirt in in particular, and me and Angie talk about it all the time. So we came up with this shirt. You know me, I try to mix like music into a lot of stuff. And if you look at like we did one shirt a long time ago, and I'll try to find. Well, we're not showing any of this stuff because we got to edit this thing. And
yeah.
So there's so anyway. So I'll just describe it.
Maybe in the teasers when we get back, we'll throw.
We'll throw the stuff in there. So we made this shirt a long time ago. It looked like the Ramones logo. And it said BST Clothing back when we were BST Clothing. So it said BST Clothing, looked like the Ramones logo, which the Ramones logo is an iconic logo. A lot of people identify with that. Even if you really don't know what the Ramones are, probably you could look at that logo and know, like, I've seen that before. It has something to do with music. It's pretty identifiable. Mm-hmm. So we did that, and it was great. Everybody liked it. So we kind of like, I kind of went down this rabbit hole of making it more and more obscure to the point where I made the shirt. It was an S10. And it was like dragging, throwing sparks, and it had a wall behind it, and it said "Drag City Rockers," and what do we say? It said "Drag City Rockers," but because there's sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here, but there's a Clash song called "Clash City Rockers." That's what it is. So there's a Clash song called "The Clash City Rockers." So I saw that and I was like, how cool that be to do Drag City Rockers, because
you're dragging the rocker.
They're dragging the rocker. That was way. First of all, the Clash is pretty well known, but not a lot of people know all of their songs or even like maybe some of their songs. So I already took an already obscure thing and made it more obscure into this t-shirt that nobody got. I think I eventually sold them all because eventually we sell everything. But I think the only reason I ever sold them all was because it had an S10 on it, and that's it. And then people were like, so that was the most obscure thing I made.
That's the $10 box t-shirt.
That's the $5 box t-shirt.
Yeah, I've had a couple of those where I think it's going to do well and it doesn't. But I think these new ones that I have are going to
they look really good.
The Chevy one looks really good.
That's my favorite. Yeah. Well, actually, I like them both. The Ranger and the Chevy one are really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, that was one of the things that I was doing today. I went to Brandon's shop and picked those up for you.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. I'm like, it's funny because I pick up stuff for you. That's we sort of actually. It's funny that we have like this like little. I don't know. I guess I use this term a lot. And it's not really an economy. What's like a? It's like an ecosystem. We have like this little ecosystem of like we're always like taking stuff somewhere for people, because it happens a lot. People are like, oh, you're coming out, hey man, I have these set of wheels, can you please bring them to me? Like we do that a lot. So I brought your stuff out. I also do a lot of stuff for Doug from Creative House. We made our stickers.
Yep.
I take
stickers, hit up Creative House,
and I actually do a lot of stuff for him. Like I'll take trophies for him all over.
Yeah, and I'll go get hats from you for my candy when I'm on the other side of town.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's it works out. We make it work. And these trips, like this whole trip's going to be, we're taking Lindsay's stuff. So
which was cool that it was already here.
It was already here. That was awesome because what's going on?
Are we recording? We're still good.
Yeah, we're still good. It just went to sleep. It's still, is it charging?
Uh-oh. There you go. I don't think it was charging before.
I don't think it was either. Or that light wasn't on, but that was on. Anyways, so we have her stuff, plus we have Doug's stuff. And then it just becomes like your little trailer, which you look at it and go, oh, it's a lot of room in there, but it becomes not a lot of room real quick. And then weight is an issue because it is only a single axle trailer. So
I thought about it on the way out here because obviously we're going to be lighter because we're not going to have the trophies on the way back.
Yeah.
But also like the trip out there is a lot of weight because we have the trophies, but don't forget we are fully stocked as well.
True. So when I weighed my fully stocked box, it was about 25 pounds. One tote is 25 pounds.
That's of one design, right? One tote is one design.
One tote is one design. So I have 8 totes of t-shirts. That's 200 pounds of t-shirts. Yes, 200 pounds of shirts.
That doesn't seem like a lot when you put it that way.
It doesn't seem like, this is like, well, that's why I wanted to weigh it. And then I looked up the Easy Up weight. The Easy Up weighs 75 pounds.
Man, that seems a lot more.
So my stuff, because the only thing else I have a couple boxes of hats. I've got a box of supplies, which is the tables, and one rack. So I'm assuming my stuff on a high end is 600 pounds.
Okay.
And that's probably way high. So I'm thinking Lindsay has 5 totes, and those totes are probably 35 pounds each.
Those, yeah.
Because if mine are smaller, they're 25.
Oh yeah,
hers are bigger, but not they're not like double, right? So you figure her stuff is probably with her small easy up and the 5 totes, 200 pounds maybe. So between mine and her stuff, we're at like 800 pounds.
I think I'm weighing it the most because each one of my the black totes with the yellow tops, I have 2 designs in those.
Yeah, but how many shirts though?
They're 34 shirts per design.
Okay, because mine are about 10. Mine are about the same.
About the same?
Yeah.
So if yours are, if one box with yours is 25, then mine are about 50 pounds per box. Which now that I think about lifting it up, I'd say it's between 50, maybe the higher end of 50 pounds.
If we have the same amount of t-shirts in them? Yeah, probably.
50-ish pounds.
And how many of those do you have?
I have 5. But then I also carry, because see, my thing is my trailer doubles as my storage.
Yeah.
So I actually have all of my merchandise in that trailer, including like my clearance and the kid shirts. I have a bunch of kid shirts and women's shirts. So I think I weigh in a bit more. So I would say, you know what, I would probably guesstimate that if yours and Lindsay combined as that's probably what mine is by itself.
So
something like that.
Let's say yours on the high end is 900 pounds. Let's say 1,000 pounds. Mine is, and mine and Lindsay's is 800 pounds. And then the stuff Doug has, so 2,000 pounds. So your trailer, did you ever see what it weighed dry?
No, but remember when we had it like loaded and we weighed it and it was like 3,600 pounds,
which is exactly what it needs to be. Because you have the axle is rated for 3,500 pounds. Yeah.
I think what got the axle last time was just like, we just used it so much.
Oh, 100%.
I think just taking it up and down the 10 so many times.
You figure we have anywhere from probably 2,500 pounds constant in that trailer between mine and your stuff, and just nonstop,
just bouncing down the road.
And yeah. So, anyways, that's as long as we're not over.
Yeah, I think we're good. Which also I have to bring up because it was hilarious because I got here, so I was able to see your Nissan for the first time.
Oh, that was
Which your Nissan is awesome. That's so, the truck is so cool. So we get in it. And I'm sitting there and you're sitting there and we're
sitting like this in the truck.
You're just sitting like this, like totally geeking out on the truck. And then I'm like, I don't know how you think this is gonna pull that trailer. Well, because like I was thinking about it on the way out. I was driving along in my Titan, a full size truck with a V8 motor, and I'm pulling up hills and it's all like it's pulling it right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do you expect that little Nissan to do it?
Yeah, it'll do it.
I'm very curious. I want to see.
So here's the thing: your Titan, my Titan, our Titans will pull 3 of your trailers out there right there.
That's true. That's the other part of it,
right?
Yeah.
So that towing it is not the difficult part, and that's why, like, when you look at those little trucks, the manuals are rated for more.
Oh,
because you can hold them in a gear.
That's true,
right? The limitations on towing a lot of the times is the transmissions. When you're putting them to stress. If you have an automatic transmission that's constantly like, wow, that's why they tell you not to drive in overdrive or tow in overdrive.
Which I do.
Well, I do too, as long as you're on a flat. But the second you start going up and down hills, you need to switch it to fourth because it'll hold it in that gear.
Yeah.
And that's why they have tow mode too, because it'll hold it in certain gears so the transmission's working less. You know, you want your transmission to be like kind of wind out a little bit.
Well, and you know what's funny is like I do that kind of like forcefully because our trucks have our trucks have the towing package on them, and part of the towing package is the transmission temperature gauge.
Yep.
And so that's a really good indication on when to drop it a gear, because when that thing starts climbing, and sometimes like I'll be just cruising and then I'll just glance, I'm like, oh, and I see that thing like getting pretty hot. Yeah. But yeah, the second you drop a gear, just
that transmission gauge. Those transmission gauges have saved transmissions, because if you don't have one, the only thing that you have is a light that'll come on.
Yeah.
So when your transmission gets hot, that light comes on, but the thing is if you're in that transmission gauge is high for a long time, you're going up that grade in Indio and it's just hitting super high. You can physically see it shift down, get the fluids going through it and cool it down. If you don't have that, you don't know.
Exactly.
It could just be buttoned up against where the light's off, and then your transmission is just wearing out.
Yeah.
But a manual truck is able to hold that in gear.
Yeah, that makes
sense. So
sense.
it's not necessarily about the power of the vehicle. You know what I mean? Because momentum comes slower. Like the Titan, you can mash on it. It's going to be at 70 miles an hour like that.
Yeah.
It has the power to get it up quickly. Where a little truck like that, it's not going to go fast. You know what I mean? But it still has the power to get it up to speed and stay at that speed. It doesn't take a lot of power to drive down the freeway pulling something.
Yeah, that's true.
It takes a lot of power to get there. It's going to be interesting nonetheless.
No, I know. I hooked up my trailer to the 4Runner one time.
Yeah.
Because like when I had it built, Bobby put a tow hitch on. It's got like it's not just like some janky tow hitch either. It's like in the frame. It's like pretty legit. And so I'm like, I'm going to test it out. And actually back then I didn't have as much stuff as I do now. So it wasn't that full. So I hook it up and I take it out and it was actually doing really good. Like on the flat, no problem. It would get to speed. You have to plan out your stops a little bit. But as soon as I hit a hill, that thing's all.
So if you had a manual transmission,
you could drop it.
You could drop it and hold it in that gear. And that's the thing is like when you're towing, so many people think you have to drive so fast. No, just drive slow.
Yeah.
Just cruise. Hold it. That Nissan doesn't get out of it's whining out at 70. It's whining out at 70. So it's,
what do you think realistically towing, like how fast you could do cruising?
That truck?
55?
65.
Oh, really think it goes?
Yeah, I think 65. I think as long as everything's good, as long as your brakes are good, as long as you're, I'm putting all new ball joints on that thing. I'm going to put all new, and I don't even think that truck might not be another one we tow with. Because, it might be the one I tow with to Graham's show, to Rolling in the Red Rocks. But that truck could be sold at that show.
I know. I was thinking about that too. Like the turnover. You're talking about that? About it? Okay. All right. I was like, dang, the turnover that you had on that truck was pretty fast. Like
these are going to go.
I expected you to have it longer.
No, I want these things in and out, in and out, in and out. And some I'm going to have, like the next one, I might have two at the same time. There will be another truck in that garage when we get home from Texas, though. Or right soon after we get home from Texas.
Which one's that?
There'll be another truck in there.
Oh, mysterious.
So the next, I'll have a video on that by probably pretty soon.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool.
So some of these will be two at a time. Like, I have the OBS on the side of the house. That's just waiting for a spot at Pandas. Once that spot opens up, that's another video series that's going to be. Okay, these aren't going to be like one's done, the next one starts. These are going to be like intermixing. And then once they get going, it's so much fun. I'm on, like I said, I'm on Marketplace, and I was on Marketplace. I found a clean Dodge Dakota, the old ones.
Oh, the square body ones.
Square body ones. It was $3,000. It was an older couple that kept it at their vacation house up in.
Is it an extra cab?
Yep.
Oh, dude, those are the best.
Extra cab. They have V6s in them.
Yeah, I had one. Well, not an extra cab, I had a standard cab.
Yeah. It was the blue and gray package, like the tritone. Nice. So it was like blue, gray, blue. And I was like, that's what I want. I want something like that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a cool truck.
Yeah. You saw Pandas. Did you saw when?
Yeah. He had it, but his one's an extra cab, was it?
No, standard cab.
It was a standard cab.
Super sick though. Like just random stuff like
static
that.
drop. Yeah, I remember that one.
Here's the thing: Nissans are cool, Toyotas are cool, but everyone does them. No one, dude. I found a Dodge Rampage on Marketplace the other day. Running, driving. I was like, this
Rampage,
is, they look like Subaru Brats. Are super ugly. They look like mini El Caminos.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like,
that's the one that doesn't sell.
Yeah. No one wants it. But yeah,
that's funny.
That's why I want to keep these things just running through.
Yeah, that's cool.
Super excited about it. So
yeah, that's cool, dude. As soon as I saw it, like, it's so funny how something like that could just unlock something in you. Because I got like, I already knew I was going to see when I got here, right?
Yeah.
But when I saw it, I like got giddy. I was just like, and then we sat in. I'm like, oh my god, this is so freaking cool.
Did it not make you want to go on a road trip in it?
Yeah, right away.
When I drove it, when I pulled up to buy it, I hadn't driven a standard cab, compact pickup truck, manual since my Tacoma. So long time.
Yeah.
I got in it. I drove down the street. I was like right back to my childhood, like
That's
right
cool.
back to teenager, right back to, just this, all these feels. It's like music, right? When you hear a song, it takes you right back to wherever that whatever was. Like my high school music was like Offspring. So anytime I hear Offspring, I'm like right back to high school.
Yeah.
So that's what that truck did.
That's so cool. Yeah, dude. I got it. Yeah, it's so cool. And I was so surprised on how clean the inside was.
That's a big big selling factor on it.
Where are you going?
I'm going to show you something.
Oh, okay.
These are just like a sneak peek. A sneak peek of what I'm going to put in one of the next videos.
So for our audio listeners, Brian has just pulled out a bunch of old photos, like actual real photos. Oh, dude.
Look that's my first truck.
That's awesome.
Snowing in Moreno Valley.
That's cool.
I don't know if you guys can see this, but that is snow in Moreno Valley and with the 1983 Nissan. So I'm going to scan all these or take pictures of them.
So this one caught my eye. This is Brian's Tacoma. Those wheels, I had those wheels.
They're Giovanni's?
Yeah. Those wheels.
Oh, those wheels.
Those wheels.
Those exactly. That's right.
That's right. Yeah. So a long time ago, my buddy, you had these for sale. I don't know. This was like way before any kind of internet stuff. So I don't know how.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he found out about them. We went down to your place and bought them. And he had a Ranger at the time. And I think he put him on his Ranger and his like girlfriend didn't like him or something. Oh, nice.
America.
Nice. Yeah, like his girlfriend or something didn't like him because it was her truck, it was her Ranger.
Yeah.
And then he's like, so he ended up buying, those Eagle alloys that everybody had, and so he bought a set of those, and then he's like, hey man, you want these? And yeah, so those ended up on a Mazda that I had. Those
That is
exact
so
wheels.
funny.
And you know what's funny is I always had to air them up because they were all cracked.
Oh, yeah. That's what happens when you put shocks on the front of your truck and then
I
drive
would
it
have to air
every
'em
single
up.
day.
I had to air them up like every other day, but
Yeah.
those are good looking wheels. Those are so good looking.
Always put shocks on your vehicle.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm gonna go through these and kind of tell the story about why I like.
Oh, wait a minute. Are you kind of giving me a hint on what might be the truck that'll be in your garage?
No.
Oh, okay. No. I thought it was gonna be your Tacoma.
No. Oh no, not yet.
That'd been cool.
No, that will be eventually.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Is that Rezo?
It's forbidden. Look at the bands and stuff.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
For our audio listeners, they're like, "Oh, that sounds amazing. That's really cool." Not much has changed.
No. I'm on a cordless phone.
There you go.
Pause that and zoom in.
Yeah. For our audio listeners, you got to come over to the YouTube channel and see the.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're going to see it because it's.
So
got a
I had
pretty
my what I did
glare.
is I had my mom. I was like, I need to explain to people why I like mini trucks and why it takes me back to like when I was like again that feeling you got when you got inside it.
Yeah.
Same. Like, it's all we had was mini trucks when I grew up. Mm-hmm. Then we went camping in them and all this stuff. So it's all a story that I want to tell.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's really cool. I've said this before on the podcast, but I had the same thing with Dwight's OBS. When my mom first got that truck, she's like, "Hey, come check it out." And I got in, and yeah, I went right back to high school.
You want to see some eyebrows?
Dang. This is riveting podcasting.
This is old forbidden fantasy. Just got married.
That's
Anyways, enough of that.
Enough of that. That's fun though.
Enough of that.
That's fun. We should just do I think you suggested this to me one time, and I should totally do it. Like, you remember how Bert Kreischer used to do the open tabs videos?
Oh yeah,
I should do that.
you should.
I should just do an open, a Frank boneless episode of.
There's
me
absolutely no reason that you don't need. You could start your own podcast, and it could literally be just you in your office, like going on the computer, and like
just
telling everyone what you like.
Yeah, I like it.
If no one listens to it, no one listens. It's $100 a year to start a podcast. Mm-hmm. You don't need to actually. Oh, you could film it, or you could just talk about it.
Mm-hmm. You know what? This is like kind of off subject, but on subject at the same time. Like, as we kind of got more equipment and started getting set up, I've been recording. Well, I've done one, but I plan on doing more. But I've been recording podcasts with my kids. Like, I'll have my kid come to my office and then just sit there, and I'm like, just tell me about something, right? And so she'll like tell me about stuff. So,
Yeah.
and later on, I'm gonna look at it, and it's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna cry when they're all growing up.
Heck yeah! I don't know if any of the audience can hear that. I was swishing my.
Yeah, they're gonna hear that and be like, "What?"
What?
I know we're just burping, swishing. Man, this is the best. These in-person ones are raw. this is a raw podcast because we're not gonna do shit to it. It's just
This is just going to be uploaded. This
Yeah.
is it. So we got 30 more minutes to do this.
That's fine. I'm just getting settled in. I was like kind of just like everything that we do is kind of like take a minute to get going, but I'm settled in.
Yeah. I should weed stickers while we're just sitting here.
Just sitting here, just podcasting, weeding stickers. But I do have, because we were going to do this like a Q&A type thing as well.
That's right.
So I do have a thing here that I think would be kind of cool to talk about.
Oh, good. Because I have something too, but I'm going to make sure I have it on my phone. You know what I'm doing now is I'm creating albums on here, and I will put I have a drop album.
Oh, see, that's smart.
Yeah, but I don't have the question on here. All right, let's do your question because we could probably.
Yeah, no, this is a really good question. Yeah. So I should preface this that this person wants to remain anonymous.
It's going to be a good question.
And so I'm going to redact some stuff just so. Okay, anyway. So this person asked, my question for a mini truck build. How long is too long when having work done? I know this is kind of a loaded, open-ended question. I had a local shop put my truck on air suspension. The work, and this is the stuff I'm going to redact just so, maybe someone doesn't figure it out. So anyway, so he had this work done. It took a lot longer. It went from being, 6 to 9 months to many years. And then they had this person had the same old thing, like having to threaten the person and, all this other stuff. So he says, where can I pick up? Anyway, so I'm trying not to reveal too much. Anyway, so basically his question is how long is too long in a shop?
Make sure you close your phone. Somebody zoom in on there.
Oh yeah, there you go. Whoops.
How long is too long in a shop?
How long? And I think that's a really what's the right word? It's like there's just too many factors in that question.
Too many variables.
There's too many variables.
There's too many variables. So, I mean, I have a lot of experience at shops because I work for so many different ones.
That's why I thought this would be a good thing to talk about.
Yeah, and this goes back to what I've always said. Like, if you're gonna build it yourself, great. If you're gonna have a shop do it, you're gonna spend the money. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. I had a friend. We have a mutual friend who took their truck to a shop. The price was great. Dude said he was gonna hook him up. Didn't deliver on what he said in a timely manner, in a quality manner, or anything.
That's basically what happened.
Basically what happened. Same thing, and it's just like, it's unfortunate, if you're a shop owner, you need to like follow through with what you say. And it's so easy to get, as a shop owner too, it's super easy to get like behind and then take a deposit. Cause you don't want to, the last thing you want to tell a client or a customer is no. So if someone comes to your shop, you don't want to be like, hey, I'm too busy, because they're probably just going to go find another shop. But if you are too busy and they don't want to wait, the hardest thing is going to be to let them go. Let them go. Do not take their money and do not take their truck, and don't take their truck and take it apart and then stop and take the next person's money. So that, I think there's a lot of people like that guy's asking for advice in him, but like a lot of these shop owners need advice too. Cause a lot of these guys are younger guys. They don't know anything. They just know like they have a skill, and they usually start out good with good intentions, and then they just get wrapped up into thing. You need to know your skill level too. Don't these people have, this is their, like, to some people this is their only vehicle and or second vehicle, and like their whole entire savings are going into these trucks. So
yeah,
yeah, good.
So my experience, I think it really goes back to, what we've always been talking about is like the plan thing, is like have a plan. So I've only had shops build, like the 4Runner I've had completely shop built. Before that, I've either traded for trucks that were already done, and then once I got those trucks and they needed work, I would go to like friends and stuff, and it always worked out. I never got myself in a situation like that. But when it did come time to build the 4Runner and go through shops, I honestly, I've told you this before, I honestly feel like I got lucky with everything, because everything went smooth on that truck. When Sadistic bagged it, it only took, I think, between like 6 and 8 months to bag it completely. And
yours is one of the last trucks, because he kind of shifted
Mine is the last truck.
Yeah, he shifted his whole thing to like cars.
Yeah. Mine is the last truck to roll out of there, and whatever. And then so that was one part of it, and then the paint, going through Allen, that all worked out real well because that's kind of like the famous thing is like paint jail.
Yeah.
Your ride ending up in paint jail. I think, like you said, there's a lot of variables involved. I think one of them is, and I have some pretty amusing stories to tell because, like I said, my family's been building and buying cars my entire life, and this is going to kind of get a little sticky. And my dad, if you're listening, I'm not going to say I'm sorry. I'm just going to just break some stuff down. And I know my dad listens, so I hope
Dad.
I hope he doesn't like get his feelings hurt, but I want to tell some amusing stories. So going through so many years of building cars, you tend to try to do things the cheapest way possible. And so my dad is a good guy, and he always wants to help people, and he wants to give people opportunity. So there's been many a time where he's given people who have a lot of problems, problems with addiction, problems with, mental instability, a lot of problems, but he wants to help these people. And since we were in the space we were in, it would usually be people to deal with cars. And so, there's been so many times where he's hired someone who they're very skilled people, but due to their problems, they couldn't deliver on those things. And I have a really amusing story. So we had this paint shop on the property, and my dad hired this guy, and he had his own issues and stuff like that. And one night, it's like super late, it's like 2:00 in the morning, and the guy's in the garage just working away, and you hear like the DAs just like going away. And I don't know like how it came about, but someone went to go in there maybe to check on him because it was like 2:00 in the morning. And there's this guy sitting in a chair holding the DA just going,
just trying to get hours to get paid.
I don't know what he was. I don't know. But my point is, that's just an amusing story. But my point is, if I think that's what happens sometimes. I think people, like I said, I want to word this a certain way. I think sometimes if people try to do it the cheap route or try to do it the easy way, that tends to happen. And I'm not trying to say that the person who asked this question did any of that because I don't know their circumstances.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I've seen this from a personal point of view. And another thing that, again, I really hate to harp on my dad like this, but he did a lot of like trade stuff. Mm-hmm. So like, hey man, I'll trade you this car for a paint job, or, we'll do that. And always, like, to me, that always never ended well, So I think there are a lot of circumstances. And I guess my point, not only to tell some amusing stories, my point is, like we've always said, just go in with a plan, have a plan and say, okay, this is what I want to do. This is how much I want to spend. And I have to find the right person to do it.
And also, you have to do some due diligence on your part too. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If you go in and you have a bad feeling about the place, leave.
Yeah,
that's all there is to it. Because the person that I'm talking about, he said, he goes, man, I went there and I saw there was quite a lot of unfinished projects and things like that, and it's just like, well, that's sign number one. Sign number two is credibility. Just ask around. Just so many people know so many people, and if you're getting more positive reviews than negative, then it's usually pretty good because everyone's gonna have a negative review about someone, no matter how good their shop is. But go with your gut feeling. And also, again, if it seems too good to be true.
And that was the thing, with me and the whole like trading thing. Because if a guy says, hey, give me this car and I'm gonna fully paint this vehicle, you gotta be like, I don't know. That's a lot of,
Get the paint job first. Trading is such a rough thing, or a tough thing, because it just depends on like the value aspect, And if you're just trading for vehicles that are like sub $5,000 vehicles, it's whatever. You could do it all day long. But when you start getting into trading things like paint jobs or I'll do this for this, everyone's this is worth more than this person's this.
Right. And then I think a lot of the time, and I'll be, I'm going to be very transparent. I'll be completely honest. So like when people come to me to do like screen printing and stuff, if someone said, hey, can you make me a dozen shirts? And I'm like, no problem. But, sometimes I'll try to like, I'm going to try to word this carefully. Sometimes I'll like try to be like, super nice about it. Like, hey man, don't worry about it. When I'm finished with them, you can pay me. Well, all of a sudden that drops super low on my priority list because I don't have like a financial incentive to get it done. Now, if the person came to me and said, hey, I need these shirts done, here's half down or pay for the whole thing. All of a sudden now I have a financial incentive to get these finished. And I'm not saying that
I'm the opposite. So I don't take payment until I deliver.
Okay.
Because if I have a job sitting on my hard drive, I want that done. Like it's like a mental thing. Mm-hmm. Like, and it's because people will all be like, do you want me to pay you now? I'm like, nope. Like, I pay me when it's done. Because if you pay me now, I got the money. Like now your job is, now I'm going to go to the next client and make the money. Like I need to finish your job to get the money.
And it's funny that you say that because I think that's what happens to a lot of people who are into like custom, and so we're kind of beating up on the shop owners a little bit, but we also have to look at it from their perspective is like, they're already doing, it's not like an accountant or use any kind of like thing like that. Like they're like, what am I trying to say? Like that the job that an accountant does is like a thing that always needs to be fulfilled. When it comes to anything custom painting, fabrication, anything like that, now it's a niche thing. I guess what my point is like everybody needs accounting. So everybody will come to you to get accounting done. Not everybody needs a custom paint job. So when one custom paint job comes to you and you're like trying to get that done and the funds start running low, then you need to bring on another custom paint job because there aren't 10 custom paint jobs to fulfill to fulfill someone living, to pay them, to pay the bills and pay themselves and keep their life going. So I think that's what happens from like a shop owner's perspective, but I don't know. I'm not a shop owner. So
yeah, it's definitely it's a tough thing for shop owners, especially what happens is, I'll use Tray 5 as an example just because I'm there so much.
I was going to ask you about that and I don't mean to cut you off, but like Tray 5 is how it's like, it's a well-run shop. It gets stuff is always being like constantly done. So from your perspective of seeing a shop like that and seeing other shops, like what do you think is the difference?
Okay. So here's the thing. Nothing is like a solid price. So if you go in there and you're like, hey, I want to bag my truck, 10 grand, it's not 10 grand. It's everything is different. So it's an hourly deal. Mm-hmm. You could give an estimate. It's more than likely a guesstimate, but you don't know what you're going to run into. So you have to charge hourly. And again, it took them a long time to get to the point that they're at now. Mm-hmm. But the biggest thing with them is they get things done. Mm-hmm. They'll start working on a truck. And if there's a problem with that or they're stalled, it's like right onto the next one. Or, there is no like stopping or we're done with this one. We're just done. It's nonstop. Mm-hmm. And it's all just hourly.
I think that's honestly the key right there.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens again, just from doing this for so many years and seeing and hearing so many stories and seeing so many people, like that's what happens when you say like, oh yeah, I can bag your truck for $6,000.
Yeah.
That runs out super fast.
It runs out super fast. And here's the thing. So if you go to shop A and you're like, I want to bag my truck, and they're like, it's 10 grand. And you're like, cool. And then you go to shop B and shop B says, it's anywhere. It's going to be from 10 to 30 grand. We don't know, until once we start, we'll give us $5,000 to start. And once we get to that 5,000, then we're going to ask you for another 5,000. Mm-hmm. And you essentially have an escrow. And when that escrow dwindles, you fill it back up, hey, we worked on your truck for 30 hours this week. This is how much you owe us. So the problem with the shop A that quoted the 10 grand is they're going to get to that 10 grand cap quick. And once they do, they got to go on to the next vehicle to get the money.
That's the point that I was saying. Yeah. Yeah.
And your money is out. Mm-hmm. So what is it that person's incentive to go back to your truck and start to work on it?
Exactly.
You're tapped. So you are going to, you might spend less money at shop A, but you're going to get less work done. and it's going to take longer. Shop B, you might spend, I don't know, 30% more to whatever it is, but you're going to have your truck back sooner. You're going to have your truck done more complete, and if something happens to it, you're going to be able to take it back and like
because the work that's been done to has been paid for and done.
Yeah, it's been paid for and done, and they did the work. So if something happens to it, you could be like, hey, something happened, and they'll check it out. Or, and a lot of what happens too is a lot of these trucks, like you want maintenance done on them. Hey, after a year, do a nut and bolt check, or after this, whatever. But if it goes right back to if it's too good, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good point.
And if you walk into a place and you have a bad feeling, then just it's not cheap to do this stuff unless you and your buddies are doing it in the driveway, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's like
so what I'm doing with the Nissan. When we get back from Texas, I have all this stuff to lower it, and I'm gonna do most of it here. I'll probably have to do a C notch somewhere else, but maybe I'll buy a welder and do it here too.
Yeah, why not? Yeah, those are all great points. That makes a lot of sense, and that sort of like ties back to what I was talking about. So I think like if you were to talk about two very far extremes, you talk about shop B, which is like an hourly thing, and it's very structured, and they have even they have a plan. Yeah. I think that's basically what you're saying is even the shop has a plan.
They do. They have to. Yeah, exactly.
And then you have like what I'm talking about, like what I experienced, throughout time is just like, hey, can you paint this for as cheap as possible? And then
everyone's situation is different too. Yeah. So we'll take your first situation, for example. When you went to Alan he wanted to create a relationship, I think, with you, and you also had something to offer him because he wanted t-shirts and he wanted some artwork done. So there was like a mutual thing there, but you also had a good feeling when you went to Alan.
Well, yeah, definitely.
It wasn't like a feeling of like, everyone has it when you go somewhere and you're like, I think I'm going to get screwed over here.
Yeah.
And you still do it. Why do we still do that?
I don't know. Because it's too enticing.
If you want that feeling, go to a car dealership.
That's true.
That's where you're smiling and they're smiling and you're having this conversation about their kids and all this stuff and they're screwing you over.
Yeah.
Right to your face.
Yeah.
That's the exact feeling. And you know it. You're just like, yeah, I know I'm getting screwed over. But on the other hand, though, there is the feeling of paying a lot of money for something. You get a bill from some of these shops. I mean, imagine getting a bill and you owe $20,000 for something, and you're just like.
And I think that brings up another really good point is communication.
100%.
Communication, and I've dealt with that too recently. Dealing with stuff. I go somewhere, and I say, "This is what I want to do." And they go, okay, well, this is same scenario. This is how much we charge an hour. This is how much we think it's going to say. So that's their responsibility to tell you that. Your responsibility is to go, okay, I understand that this is my maximum budget that I have to work with.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do. And then you open up that line of communication. I found that. So
you also have to be careful telling them your maximum budget.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
That is also a thing.
They're not going to be like, oh, you have $10,000 to spend?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm only going to charge you $5,000.
Yeah. No, I know they're not.
You already messed up.
Yeah. But then
you have to kind of almost that's a tough one.
That is a tough one. Cause I look at it from the perspective of like, the perspective of this, and I've learned this over the years and I've done this just recently. When I told them my maximum budget, I'm okay with spending that. Like, okay, yeah, that's true. Of course, they're going to max it out to that, even if it was going to cost less. But at the beginning of the thinking, I was comfortable with spending that. So as long as I'm comfortable with spending that, like, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like, but it is okay to kind of like. Another
way you can communicate that too is saying like, because a lot of these shops have done very similar things to your like, so they kind of know, right? So you could say like. They could go, okay, on the low end, it's going to be this. And on the high end, it's going to be this. And you could be like, so say high end, $5,000, low end, 2,500. You could be like, look, when we get close to like right around 3,500, like, let me know, let me know. And then let me know where we're at because I don't really want to go much farther than that. But in your mind, you can spend $5,000. So this is not like, think these things through. Again, a plan. From every aspect of it, a plan and gut feeling. credibility, you know, and yeah. But you know what? I know credible shops that have screwed people over.
And that's the thing. I mean, we've heard all sorts of stories. But one thing I think is important to point out is, and this sounds so cliche, but for every bad story you hear from coming someone, there's another side to that story. Mm-hmm. And there's another, you know, there's that old
three sides to every story.
Exactly. Yeah. Yours, mine, the truth. And you know, that's a bit extreme, I guess, but there is some truth to that.
Because you could be like, oh, yeah, I just wanted to lower my truck and it cost $7,000. And you're like, well, I saw this the other day on some C10 forum, you know, some guy took his truck to this dude's shop. His shop was in his driveway, you know, in not a very great part of town. But the guy decided to leave it there. And then something happened and this guy went on the forum and started complaining. He charged me $2,300 to do this in a crappy part of town. Like he started using this guy where he lived against him.
Right.
And then you have all the people like, oh my God, $2,300 to lower the back of your truck. Mm-hmm. And then a couple days later, the shop owner, you know, went on and was like, look, the guy came to my house. He knew where I lived. He could have left. I didn't like go to a nice place.
Right. Yeah. And then
like,
catfish him.
He came to my house.
Yeah.
And he even told the guy like, look, this is where I do my work. If you're not comfortable, totally understand. Mm-hmm. And then he broke down the cost. And this guy that was complaining about it didn't tell the whole story.
Well, you know, yeah, because you hear, just lowering the rear of my truck, but he neglected to mention the axle narrowing,
drive shaft,
the drive shaft,
like there's
the tubs.
There's too many.
Yeah, that. And that's what I'm saying. Like it's
communication. That's the communication part.
There's one thing that I want to mention about communication, and I've maybe brought it up before, but so like, you know, I think our listeners know, and then you know, I'm not a huge fan of this whole like entrepreneur hustle culture, like people telling me how to be successful. I don't like that. And so when people come to me, because I've had people ask me like, hey, you know, you've been doing this a long time. Like, how are you still doing that? How are you still alive doing what you do, basically?
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people expect me or someone in my position to say like, all you got to do is work hard. Like, that's it. Just work hard and everything will be successful. I don't subscribe to any of that. If someone came to me and said, hey, you've been in screen printing for 15 years. How are you still alive doing this? I would say communication. Like I want to give people like tangible advice.
But you got to remember too, like your position, your financial position is different than a lot of other people's.
Well, that's true.
So you don't have, it really starts out as like your living is different than this person's living. Mm-hmm. So you can't give them advice anyways.
Well, that's a good point.
Right?
Yeah. Because everybody's different. Everybody's different.
You know, I have the same thing when people ask me certain things like, and in reality, like I'm not a fan of the hustle entrepreneur because everyone thinks they're doing it. But honestly, and this goes to back to the shops and back to the customers and back to this whole thing is follow through. Mm-hmm. Because if you follow through, your credibility rises. If you finish the job, your credibility rises.
Right.
You control how fast you want to do it, how much you want to do it. Just follow through and finish the job. Mm-hmm. And never use the excuse of, I didn't get paid enough.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or I misquoted the guy and it was more like, there's no excuses. Mm-hmm. Once you quote someone something and they say that that's all they're going to pay, you can't use, there's no excuses.
And I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. Like, I guess because that would be an excuse I would use. So if I told someone, hey, if someone came to me and wanted a dozen shirts and I said, okay, no problem, you know, I'll get you later. When I say that, like, if you give me a deposit, I'm more financially incentivized. I don't think that's also fair to say because I did say that I would do it. Right. And I think that happens, you know, quite often. And one thing that bugs me too is when someone does something, like they'll do something and they don't like finish it good, and then they're like, whether you call them out or not on it, they're like, well, they only paid this much for it. Like that's so bad.
It's the worst.
That's so bad.
Because again, I've seen this happen where you can take your truck to a shop. They do not very good work. You get it back incomplete. And then they say, well, I only charge you this much. Another shop would.
That's
the second you say that, your credibility goes out the window.
Yeah, for sure.
If you said you're going to do something and then for a certain price, and then that goes over, you can tell the person like, hey, it went over, but if you agreed on that price and the customer is like, no, that's the price, like you're gonna have to bite the bullet. Then that's why you don't give total prices. That's why it's an hourly thing.
Yeah.
It's and back to like the entrepreneur hustle thing. Like we both have this mutual feeling about that whole thing. Like it's all depending on how much money you want to make. Some people don't want to make this much.
Right.
Like I value my time more than money. So I look at everything like how much time is it going to take me? How much money am I going to make from it? And yeah, I like time more than anything.
Right.
And so
it kind of goes back to what we were talking about a couple episodes ago about the Barrett Jackson thing. Like, someone buying a truck for $200,000 and selling it for $230,000, or buying a truck for $40,000 and selling it for $50,000. Like that's basically the same amount. So like you said, you just got to decide, how you want to go about it, how much, I don't want to say effort. Yeah, effort's not the right way to say it, but basically you just have to, it's just like the theme of everything we talk about is just have a plan. Even from the point of view of the builder or the person who is offering the services, you have to have a plan going into this agreement,
Plan it out.
Going back to this guy's original question, and is how long is too long? It just, I don't know, man. Like how long is too long?
So that's a thing too, right? So if you go into a shop and you're like, how much to bag my truck? If they don't know, they could say, we don't know how much it is. It's an hourly thing. But time is you can give a time.
Oh, okay.
You might not be able to give like a certain price, but you can roughly give time. You could say like, it's going to take me a week. And the shop should know that, because the shop,
they built a lot of them.
Well, they're also charging you hourly. They know after so long, they know how many hours go into a job. It's just like going to a dealership. A oil change on the books is 0.5. It's half an hour. But a tech can do it in 5 minutes. They still get paid for the half an hour. So if you go into bag a truck, the shops start to roughly know, or they can take notes, or they can do all these things, and on the books, and they can go, oh yeah, and an LS swap on a square body is gonna, it's gonna run 180 hours, give or take. So you can tell that person like, yeah, as long as we have all the parts, we could get it done in a couple of weeks.
Right.
If a couple of weeks turn into a year, then yeah, So it really depends on. Again, communication.
Yeah. That's what I'm realizing throughout this conversation is communication and planning on both sides.
Because how long does it take to bag a truck?
I don't know. I've never bagged a truck.
It depends on the truck.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like, because that's what you're saying. So like a shop can roughly know how long it's going to take to do something, but they don't know the variables involved. What about if they get your truck up in the air and something is really wrong with it, or like there's unforeseen circumstances, I think that's the variable part of it.
Yeah.
But that is also not to say that someone can come to you and say, and that's why you said it would cost between A and B, because if we hope it'll be A, but it might be somewhere.
And it goes back to communication, because if there's a hiccup, especially the last couple of years, parts have been a thing.
Yeah.
So you never know shoot, you get to be held up a year. I've seen shops being held up a year or more because of tires, certain size tires. So, but as long as that shop they're just like, if they have to pick the phone up and say, here's your options. This, or this. I want this option. Okay. It's got that option. We don't know how long we get to get that part. But if you go with option A, we can get the part tomorrow and we'll be done next week. So again, it's communication, communication, a plan,
and being honest too, I think is really important, because like
being honest with the customer and yourself.
Exactly. That's what I was exactly about to say. Is like it, and I don't know if did you say this earlier in the conversation about it's okay to say no? Yeah, like that. I think that's one of the hardest parts on the shop side, or any kind like screen printing or bagging, anything is being honest enough with yourself and being okay with saying no.
I've said no a few times.
Oh yeah.
Just because there are certain things in video world or photography world that they're like, say someone was like, hey, I want to do this. And I'll be like, look, I'm not very good at that, but I want to learn a little bit more. If you're willing to give me your time, I will give you my time.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Right. And then you learn together. But if that person is not willing to give you their time because maybe they're a busy person or a busy shop or whatever, then that's totally different.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to charge someone for something, I better damn well know that I can do that.
No, for sure. Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
Knowing what the client wants, customer client wants, and being confident in being able to deliver that in a timely manner in the budget that's communicated with the customer. That's all it is. That's all it is. If you walk into somewhere and you're like, God, I don't know about this place. Run.
You're run.
Run.
Yeah, I've never...
Because it's okay to say no as a client too.
Oh, that's true.
Right?
And there's another thing that I want to bring up too. Like, it's okay to say no as a client. I've also heard this that I think about a lot, and I've done it a few times myself. And it's kind of like an abstract thought, but bear with me. So like, you can also, as much as like a customer can hire and fire someone to do a task, the person who's providing that service or task can also do that to the customer. Because I've fired customers before.
Yeah.
Just bad customers, just like they're never satisfied. You guys can't reach that mutual agreement. Like there's just some sort of like, breakdown in the communication or breakdown in the end goal. And you just have to go like, look, you know what? This isn't working out.
Yeah. That's a good point. Being able to say no. Yeah. No. Yeah. No as no all the way around.
Yeah. Like we're
firing a client.
Yeah. I've heard that it's a real term, like firing a customer.
Yeah.
So,
you don't want to turn down the money, but again, sometimes dealing with certain people takes time.
You know how you said, okay, this is also works both ways too, because you know how you said if you walked into a shop and you got a vibe, that works the same thing with a customer too.
They walk into your shop,
if they walk into your shop and you get this vibe, like this is going to be a pain. Because, it's like you said, it's the time thing, right?
Yeah.
So if a person comes in and you get this vibe that like, this is going to cost me a lot of time, and they lay out their plan, and you're just like, you know what, I can't do this, or I can maybe suggest someone else who can do it, or just straight up say no, like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, nah, we're not
like,
gonna.
no.
It's not gonna work out.
No,
not gonna work out.
Sometimes I feel like I've over the years of doing this for so long, like I felt like doing that sometimes when customers are like, I want to do this, I'm just like, no. I would never do that, but
I've said it to people like, me and Jeremy are friends, so he'll be like, hey, I have this idea of this, then I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do it. He's like, no, you think it's be done? Say be done.
Yeah. But sometimes you need to hear that. Sometimes you need to hear that.
Sometimes we all need to hear a little truth.
Right. Yep.
No matter how cool or how smart you think you are, sometimes a little truth bomb goes a long way.
And that's good. And good friends will do that for you.
You want to hear a truth bomb you gave me one time?
Oh, really? I would love to. Because you give me so... wait, hold on. I want to hear this because you give me so many.
That's because I think I'm so smart. So it goes back to this t-shirt when you said, I brought you some t-shirts, right? Because you like basically sponsor me. You give me t-shirts.
Right.
So one time when you were doing a t-shirt for me, I was like, go ahead. If you want one, you're like, nah, I really don't like that one. I'm all, oh, all right. You won't even take a free one.
No, I think I know what you're talking about.
No, it was the mini truck one because you didn't.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. That's
really
right.
It wasn't your style.
That wasn't really my jam.
And then also my soft next level ones.
Yeah, that's usually what gets me.
Except you wear the ones from the Venomous Pinks.
That's true. And I'm going to wear them on this trip because I've realized
that you like them.
They are comfortable. The thing is, like, they're like, it's funny because the shirts that you're talking about in particular, they're extra large and next levels. They're great for driving because they're just like comfy and I'm driving.
Yeah, I have. So on a big guy scale, you have your 4XL, but you have different brands. So All Style is a very big fitting 4XL. Next level is not a big fitting 4XL. Next level is like a 3X. All Style. So there are shirts that I have that are 4X next levels, and now I can wear them.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, I love these shirts.
They're comfortable.
They are really nice.
Here's the
but
thing.
the Spectras are like a pretty nice.
I think they're a pretty happy medium.
Yeah.
The Spectres are pretty happy medium, being soft. And my biggest problem with the Next Levels is I like a fitted shirt. And the Next Levels are great. Fitted up here, on the arms, around the chest, fitted, and then just flowy at the bottom. I feel like I'm wearing a dress.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, you're gonna have to talk to the people for a second because I'm gonna go get one of my new shirts.
Okay.
Since you got to show off yours.
All right.
I'm gonna show off mine.
Okay. All right. Great.
So talk to them.
All right. Oh, going semi-boneless on this one. But yeah, you could. I'm gonna have these shirts this weekend at LST. And I'll have them on the website soon. And again, for our audio listeners, I'm sorry you can't see these. You're going to have to pop over to the YouTube channel and check them out. So we got 2 new designs. We have a couple. We have a couple new kids designs too. We didn't come up with anything new. We basically took some of our older designs and just shrunk them down. What size are you? In what? In Spectra. Large. Really? Yeah. That's why I don't like the extra large Next Levels. They're too. Like I said, I'm going to go on a bit of a rant right now. Okay. I told you about the shirts. Go to catch us at LST. LST's going to be over by the time this episode airs. So hopefully you guys swung by LST and picked them up. But let me rant a little bit about Next Level t-shirts. I don't know if you guys have seen the ads like on Instagram and stuff where they call them True Tees. And they're basically like advertising them as like they're the ultimate like guys t-shirt because they're exactly what I described. They're like tight at the top and they're flowy at the bottom. And their whole thing is like, oh, you want to show off your like chest and your arm muscles, but you got a beer belly and that's going to like, flow over that. I can't get behind that. I feel like I'm wearing kind of a trash bag. But anyway, yeah, don't fall for that. Because when you see those ads for like, I think they're called like True Classics and there's some other brands that they use. Don't fall for that. Those are just rebranded Next Level t-shirts. And they're selling them for like a crazy price. Like, I don't know exactly how much they're selling them for, but they're like 3 for like $60 or something like that or more. Those are like $8 t-shirts. Don't fall for it. Go buy some Next Levels.
What are you telling these people?
I'm just ranting a little bit about my disdain for Next Level t-shirts.
The ones that you like to wear?
Okay.
You're not wrong. Oh my!
Shirt
yeah.
one. Shirt one.
Let me see it. Oh, I like the front. That's cool.
Right, so Nick at Surface drew these. Got the front.
That's cool.
And the back.
Dang, that's awesome. And that's Zach's from No Regrets.
Yep.
His Ranger. That's so cool.
Came out good, huh?
I love because Brandon from Field Market did this, and I love seeing like prints like this, because like I don't do prints like this. This is a pretty detailed print. This is
it's like 9 colors.
Yeah, it's like 9 colors because you got all these different blues and
yeah.
and chromes and grays and stuff, but it looks so cool, and I always love those shirts. They look so good.
So if you're a fan of Rangers and or just this truck in general, those will be on the website. This will be up Monday. Those will be on the website Tuesday.
I know. I was showing off my shirts again, and I was like, "Yeah, you can pick these up at the weekend at LST. LST's over.
LST's over.
It's gone.
But you can pick these up at Forbidden.
Oh, we'll have them at Forbidden.
Mm-hmm. Mini nets. Mm-hmm. Next one. So I went a little different with this one. This one. Greg, what size was that?
The Ranger?
Yeah. Was that a large?
It is. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's yours.
Oh, sweet.
Are you okay with that one?
Yes, I'm okay with
Okay.
it. It's on a Spectra, so I like it.
So white GTV because I'm basic, but then
That's awesome. And this is your OBS truck,
this is my OBS truck.
and those are the wheels that are going to go on the truck.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man. I love it.
Yeah.
And see, and so like I was just looking at this one, which is a 9 color,
Yeah.
really awesome print. But it's also so cool, like what you can achieve with just 2 or 3 colors.
And people need to think about that when they're doing shirts too.
Mm-hmm.
Cost wise,
Oh yeah.
like, is extremely different.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So,
For sure.
but I think
That's sick. I like it a lot.
yeah, it's got little grinders on it. Get it, grinder.
Oh.
Yeah.
And again, for our audio listeners, you're going to have to come over to the YouTube channel.
Or you just go on the website because again, these will be up on the
Oh,
website
yeah.
on Tuesday, probably when I get back. So that's yours too.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Look, we're trading.
I know. see?
I'm clothing you and you're clothing me.
I try to give you my shirts sometimes, but you just don't like them.
I know. I guess the next level.
The next level.
I just like the thing about it is I guess, growing up, I used to do a lot of, some kids growing up, they'll go to Macy's or Miller's back in the day or whatever. I used to go to the indoor swap meet.
Miller's Outpost, man.
Miller's Outpost. So I'd go to the indoor swap meet and we'd get, the all style shirts. Back in the day, they called them AAAs, the three, they back in the day, they used to be 3 for $10, something like that. Yeah. They were like 3 for 10. So anyways, that's why I like them. They just, again, it's like the Nissan, it's like the OBS truck. I put on that and I don't know. I'm just kidding. I'm just bullshitting at this point.
It's time to go. What time is it?
It is time to go.
It's 10 o'clock. I still have to put these t-shirts out of the boxes.
Got to load,
and the
load
hoodies,
a few more things.
Load a few more things. And
hit the road.
And upload this podcast.
Yeah. This is going.
Technically, we could upload this in the hotel this weekend, but I don't want to chance it.
Yeah.
It takes the internet, like it sucks it up. These are big files.
I'm excited about this one to go from here to there. I'm not going to review it.
Oh yeah. This is
straight to video.
Yeah, and we're apologize for the audio in the last couple of episodes.
That's right. Yeah. We had a little bit of issues.
We had to update firmware, and the firmware didn't tell us how to do it, and we don't know what we're doing.
We don't know what we're doing. That's our MO.
Yeah. All right, we're out of here.
Yeah. Later. We'll see you next time. Hopefully, we saw everybody at LST last weekend.
And wait, this is Monday. Mm-hmm. We're giving away the AccuWear on Tuesday. That's going to be crazy. So right now it's currently Tuesday. We're going to LST this weekend. I'm not going to get home until next Tuesday. So I'm like going to get home, and that evening we'll do the AccuWear giveaway. And we might have to bump it to the second, depending on how if you're awake or not. So
yeah, that's true.
Just follow our Instagram.
Follow our Instagram. See when we're going to do it. But that is happening this week, sometime this week. And we will be announcing what we're giving away next. We're going to pounce on Seth this weekend and figure it out. I was supposed to go down. Suspension, the main sponsor of this podcast. Yep. I was supposed to go down there today. I just ran out of time. But exciting. Yeah. Everything's exciting. Yeah. All right. We got to go. All right. Later. Bye.